Okay, well, for this one right now, let's talk about you've learned how to use all of your different 3D shapes. You've learned about putting your polylines or lines together. You've worked with your UCS. But let's get down because you've been playing around a bunch, and let's talk about, here's a shape. You may remember this. This one is the drawing we did from our second 9 weeks, basically, when we were doing with the graphics. We did our front view, our top view, and our side view. Right now, I have this on this hidden view just so you can see what it looks like. Now, what I need for you to do is to think. Look at this object and tell me what you see. What do you think? How would you draw this? Some people will see this as a big cube where they cut this chunk out here and a chunk out here and here. Some people will see it as a C shape in the way down and maybe a U shape on the right side. Some people will see this as an L shape with 2 areas cut out. There's tons of ways to do this. So let's go ahead. I'm going to put this into the conceptual, and I'm just doing that so you can see. And I'm going to show you a couple of ways of drawing this. Now, here's the thing. As long as it gets correct, you're good to go. You don't have to worry about it. You'll find out which is quicker for yourself. I'm always for the quickness in this as much as possible. So for myself, I'm going to watch this here. I'm going to leave myself in the top layer. The first thing I'm going to use is I can look down and I can know these dimensions. And by the way, I will give you the sheet with all the dimensions on it. And I can start off with my polyline. And if I don't use my polyline, you know what? It's okay too, because I can convert them. All right, I'm going to start, I'm going to draw looking down on this. So I'm going to make this big C shape, but I'm going to make the C shape all the way back to there. So the width of this 1.25. And then the length of this is coming out 2 inches. These little legs here are coming 0.375. And notice I'm just typing in my numbers, and I have my ortho on. Remember F8, and I can type my numbers in. I'm coming back 1 inch. I'm coming out 0.5. I'm coming back my 1 inch and doing my 0.375. Now, I'm sorry if I'm going a little fast on these numbers because I'm more concerned for you to be able to see how things started. So I'm in my top view. I used my polyline, so it's all together. I drew out my distance. I drew out my distance. Again, all the way around. Now, I'm going to simply extrude. And I'm going to take this, because it's all one, and I'm going to bring up the 0.5. So there's my part right there. Now, my next thing I have, I'm going to change layers so you can see it. And I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to take and do my polyline. Oops. And I got to change my UCS. I'm in the top. I want to go to the right side. Now, with my polyline, I'm going to start here. And I'm going to come all the way across. I could either do that, or I could type in the number. If I typed in the number, it'd be 1.25. But you know what? I'm going to use what's there. I'm coming up straight. My total height of the piece was 1.25. But this area right here is 0.75. So I'm going to draw a straight line up, 0.75. And I'm coming over my 0.25. And I'm coming down 0.25. It'd be helpful if I did 5.25. I'm coming over. Now the whole thing here is going to be 0.75. I'm going to come up my 0.25. I'm coming over my 0.25. And I'm coming down to join it right here. Now notice, it's all one piece. I'm going to go ahead and extrude this, the whole 0.5, and I'm going to union. So you see how that worked? I drew that piece in this. Let's draw it a different way. And let's do it another way. Let's go to the front. And now I'm going to take my polyline. I'm going to start here, and I'm going to come straight up, my 1.25. I'm coming over my 0.5. I'm coming down my 0.75. I am coming out my 1.5. I'm coming down my 0.5. and I'm coming back here. There's my L shape. I'm going to go ahead and extrude this. And I'm coming back my 1.25. Okay, there's my basics. Let's go throw this on the object layer. Okay, now that's where some people would start. With this, let's turn off so you can see the wireframe. Now, the next way, let's cut things out. Let's go to the top view. And I put myself in the top view. I'm going to leave it in the red. I need to cut out that hole, but I don't know where it actually is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and take my line command. And I'm going to pick on the top here and draw a line back. And I'm going to draw it back 0.25 because I know that's where it's going to start. Now, I'm going to actually copy this so you can see it two different ways. Okay. All right, let's do this. Okay, so you see I drew that line right here. I drew it back 0.25 because that's where I know the hole starts. At this point, what I can do on this is I can come over to box or rectangle. But if I go to the box and I pick right here, and now I can type in L for length. If I drag it back this way, I know that this thing, the hole is 0.75. And if I drag it this way, I know it's 0.5. And now I can go down my 0.5. Or actually, it's 0.25. Sorry about that. 0.25. So now I have it there. So you see, just by drawing the one line, I can do that. And of course, at that point, I can go ahead and tell it, hey, subtract. So I picked what I wanted to keep. I right-clicked and picked what I want to get rid of. So there's that. Another way over here, I could do this, is I could come in here with my line. And once again, I can draw something across and tell it 0.25. I can come this way and tell it 0.5. And now from here to here is 0.75. So I could probably get away with doing an offset of 0.75 and take from here this direction. So now I have that. What I could do then is come in with my box and pick from here to here and drop it down to the 0.25. Okay? Is either of these more correct than the other? Absolutely not. You have your choice. As a matter of fact, you could even go into this and say, hey, put a rectangle right here. And then do the extrude with this rectangle. Either one, it's going to give you the same exact thing. So you see there's always more than one way to do things. So on this one here, let's go ahead and I'm going to use the red because it's a non-printable. I'm just going to use a line. And here, I'm coming over my 0.375. And that's where my box is going to start here. So once again, I can take box, pick here, and I can type L for length. I'm going to come over this way, 0.5. And now I'm going to come back. Oops. That didn't work where I wanted it. Let's do it again. My box. I pick here. I do L for length. I can type in, let's see, let's go this way, the 1 inch. And now I can come over my 0.5. And I can come down. Now, here's a couple other things. I know I have to bring it down 0.5. But you know what? If I typed in and just said bring it down 0.5 here. Whoops. I actually typed in 5. Let me undo that. That was kind of crazy. I go here. I can go L for length. Come back my 1. Come over my 0.5. And I go down. So on this one here, I'm going to type in my 0.5. Okay? And I can subtract this out. If I would have left that there, and let's do this. We can do the same thing over here. So I'm going to copy this little line here so you can see what I'm talking about. If I come in here with my box again and I pick it, L for length, pull it back, and do my 1 inch back and my 0.5 over. Now what if I just pulled it down way past here? I didn't even put it in a number. Will it make any difference? Let's see. Here's subtract. Pick what we want to keep. Right click, get rid of that. It's gone. See the red line here? It's not going to show anyway. See this one over here? Subtract. Pick what I want to keep. Right click, pick what I want gone. Pick what I want gone. Now notice, see right here? It's all hanging out below. If I subtract nothing from nothing, it's going to be gone. So it's absolutely the same thing again. So the whole purpose for this is to make you guys understand this is what the final product is. We got there 3 different ways, and there's lots more ways to do it. One is not any better than the other. I try to go for speed. So I try to make things as easy as possible. So you figure out what is good for you, and then you work on it. Okay? So this is what we're going to be working on. I will be giving you all the sheets with all the dimensions on it. Okay? So start looking at your shapes and start picking them apart and saying, hey, what shapes are these? How can I get it? Remember, simple city. U, and there's a C. You can use it as blocks. You can add to them. You could subtract from them. How do you see it, and what makes it easy for you? So hopefully that one's going to help you get going. Okay?